Hey.
What do you want, Talking Helmet? I don't even know where you went. What do you want, Talking Helmet?
So, you know how you reviewed the Devil May Cry reboot?
Yeah? Why?
You should review this next.
Didn't I just review the reboot?
Come on, you owe it to yourself.
Alright, fine. Let's do it. Well, since Helmet talked me into it, this time on That Game Review Show, I'm going to be reviewing Devil May Cry 3. Not the PS2 version, just... this worked a little better than grabbing just the PS4 one. I played it on the PS4, but I have the... Alright, so let's just put this game in... Alright, let's give this game a shot.
2 hours later.
Oh my god, I was so wrong about DMC.
You've heard of it, haven't you? The Legend of Sparta? When I was young, my father would tell me stories about it.
So, I've had a weird experience regarding Devil May Cry 3. Several times, pretty much every time I got a different version of the game, be it on the PS2, the PS3, the PS4, which is what I'm playing here, I tried to get into it, kinda enjoyed it, then got stuck. And once I got stuck, I ended up just stopped playing.
From this brotherly fighting.
Something about the game just didn't hook me quite like Devil May Cry 4 and the reboot did. Usually my sessions ended with me getting stuck on a certain enemy, the boss Navon being the biggest hurdle. I don't know what changed, it may have just been my attitude towards the game, but after I died a few times, I figured out the pattern and I did it.
My, you're sweet.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Then, quite simply, I fell in love with the game. While I had always enjoyed the game, my mindset on it changed so much, I just couldn't get enough.
You are not worthy as my opponent.
I made my way through the rest of the game within a couple of days after that, and then I rolled credits. So, now I have to say Devil May Cry 3 is my favorite in the series.
I'm absolutely crazy about it!
While I still love the other games, this one is easily at the top of my list. And that's coming from someone who's a pretty big fan of both 4 and the reboot. While I don't regret not getting into the game sooner, I am a little mad at myself for writing it off so easily. Enough gushing though. Starting off with the gameplay, this game is hard. There's a large difficulty curve at the very beginning if you're not familiar with games like this. Hell, I've had some difficulties with this game during my first full playthrough. The game itself is pretty basic at first glance. As Dante, you get a basic melee attack button, a gun attack button, and a lock-on. From that though, the game gets way more complicated. If you space your button inputs, Dante will do different attacks with each of his weapons. Each weapon has these timing-based combos and directional-based attacks that you have to aim with the lock-on. And going even deeper than that is the style system. Dante starts off with 4 styles: Gunslinger, Trickster, Royal Guard, and Swordmaster, each of which you are stuck with for a while until you at least reach a divinity statue. As for what they do, they're pretty self-explanatory. Gunslinger gives Dante new moves for his guns, Swordmaster for his melee weapons, Trickster gives Dante some new maneuvers for evading enemy attacks, and one super stupid blue orb shard. Royal Guard is probably the most complicated of the four. It's a block button, but there's also some sort of timing involved. I haven't played with it enough to really get a good explanation of it. Swordmaster is my personal favorite out of the four, though maybe once I get the hang of Royal Guard I might change my mind. The new moves for Dante's main weapons made the style more than worth it for me. My personal favorites being Shredder, which you get immediately, and they also reuse the attack in the reboot with the Osiris Scythe, and the Sword Pierce, where Rebellion does damage to a faraway enemy and you can attack with a different weapon in the meantime. Since I rarely actually use the guns in this game, Gunslinger is probably my least favorite. Just doesn't really do it for me. Dante gets equipped with a handful of new devil arms in this game. You start off with the now iconic Rebellion, a keepsake of Dante's father, Sparta. And from some of the bosses you get the weapons Cerberus, an icy 3-section Nunchaku. Agni and Rudra, fire and storm swords that you can string together attacks with.
No talking. Good.
Navan, a really shitty guitar. And finally, Beowulf, which you can get a little bit after fighting that boss, being a pair of gauntlets and boots for more hand-to-hand attacks. However, this large selection of weapons brings me to a rather huge point of contention for me. At any given time, Dante can only have 2 different guns equipped and 2 different devil arms equipped. If you need a specific devil arm for a collectible, you need to go and find a divinity statue and change it there, or restart the mission. While this isn't a huge complaint, it is pretty upsetting for me. While cycling through 5 different weapons on the fly would get a little tedious, a better solution would have been having them equipable in the pause menu. Also, this is something I think the reboot does a little better with how it handles changing weapons, but that game sucked apparently. The game stars Dante, the half-human, half-demon devil hunter, who just started his own shop, but couldn't come up with a name for it. After the mysterious Arkham visits Dante with an invitation from his brother, Virgil, Dante heads inside the Temenigru and goes to face off against his brother. The Temenigru is a huge demonic tower which doubles as an entrance into the demon world, which the DMC series seems to have a lot of, apparently. Once Dante reaches the top, he faces off against Virgil. You end up fighting Virgil a few times throughout the game as a recurring boss. This game doesn't really have many of these, besides the Jester fight added in the Special Edition, so fighting what is essentially the same boss 3 times over and over at increasing difficulties was very fun to see. I had mentioned in my DMC review that the downside of the fight with Virgil in 3 was that most of their history was off screen, and the fact that we saw the evolution of their relationship in the reboot made the final fight so much more satisfying. While I still believe that the final boss in DMC was enjoyable, the final boss in Devil May Cry 3 was great. I felt like there was enough Dante and Virgil on screen together to build up their dynamic, and that was helped by the brothers' partial reconciliation during the Arkham battle.
try it your way for once. Remember what we used to say? Jackpot.
The game places a lot of effort into character development of Dante, especially between him and Lady, a girl who entered the Tepenegru to fight and kill her father, Arkham.
I need that back.
You see their adversarial relationship change into one with a little bit more caring by the end of the game.
How about a kiss from you?
Then there's the dynamic with Virgil. You start the game with Dante and Virgil practically hating each other, with Virgil stabbing Dante in the chest with every intention of killing him. But then, after their second fight, where Arkham shows his true colors of taking Sparta's power for himself by playing the brothers against each other, the two try to fight together but end up going their own ways. Then, in the final fight with Arkham, Dante and Virgil end up fully teaming up. The two end up defeating Arkham and they do the iconic
Jackpot.
It was really cool to see this again, especially when the next thing you do is fight Virgil in what was easily one of the hardest boss fights in this game. Virgil's tough. He has more moves than he ever did, and now that he's equipped with Sparta's Force Edge, he was a really fearsome foe. I also do want to say too, during the Arkham fight, if you have a second player, they can play as Virgil, and that's pretty cool. I never did that because I'm lame and I have no friends, so yeah, that's been fun.
Am I being defeated?
What's wrong? Is that all you got? Come on, get up. You can do better than that.
The portal to the human world is closing, Dante. Because the amulets have been separated.
Let's finish this, Virgil. I have to stop you. Even if that means killing you.
After you finally beat him, Virgil tries to get Dante to leave him in the underworld. Dante refuses and Virgil falls back, slicing Dante's hand and falls into the abyss. The scene kinda got to me. It showed that despite Virgil being an absolute ass towards Dante throughout most of the game, he still cares for Dante, at least somewhat. Once back in the mortal world, Dante and Lady meet up. Dante begins to cry over the loss of his brother, and then Lady finally understands that not all demons are necessarily evil. With a name for a shop, Dante officially goes into the demon hunting business, and that leads into Devil May Cry 1.
Want to know the name? Devil May Cry.
Also, I do want to say the ending credits where you can fight demons while the names are going, I really enjoy that and I appreciate that, and in retrospect I'm really upset that the reboot did not have that. Oh yeah, also, when Virgil himself acquires the Beowulf gauntlets before Dante does, I legitimately said to myself, oh yeah, another campaign. I actually really did say that. It was really sad, but I was so excited when that finally hit me that there is another campaign. While I should have talked about this during the gameplay, I will mention it here. You can play through the entirety of the game again with Virgil. My biggest complaint is, Virgil doesn't have as many attacks with his weapons as Dante does. However, his summoned swords are incredibly useful in combat because you can use them simultaneously with his melee attacks, unlike Dante who would have to bring out his guns. Virgil also starts with all three of his weapons too, the Yamato, the Beowulf, and the Force Edge. While I feel like Virgil's campaign was fun, his rather limited moveset led me to enjoy Dante's campaign a lot more. I believe this was fixed in Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, but I'd have to check. Or probably just play it again. Also, something too I would have really liked to see would have been all the cutscenes just with Virgil. That would have been kind of cool, even though that would have made 0 sense. They kind of do it a couple of times, just like in-game cutscenes where Virgil's doing like a Dante thing, and it's kind of funny. I just kind of wish they had done that, but that's just me. For a mid-life PS2 game, this game looks pretty good. Granted, the PS4 collection doesn't really do the game justice, but I'm pretty impressed by what they've been able to manage on the PlayStation 2. Some textures and models look a little off, but overall the game is very pleasing to look at. I know people love the soundtracks for the Devil May Cry games, but really nothing in the soundtrack stuck out to me. To be fair though, I also don't have a huge amount of interest in gaming soundtracks anymore, so yeah. The game's main theme is really good from what I remember, though I think the last time I listened to it I was in sophomore year in high school. Overall, I really love this game, which should be pretty self-explanatory by how long this video will end up being, despite me trying to make the script shorter. To be fair, it will be substantially shorter from what I can tell, but wow, this really did get out of hand. My hopes are pretty high for this series. I mean, very shortly after I released my review of the reboot, they announced Devil May Cry 5 at E3. I want to say that it was my video that finally convinced Capcom to show it off, so you're welcome. Just real quick though, Devil May Cry 5 looks absolutely amazing. Nero's back, and he has a new Devil Bringer, which can have a bunch of mods on it. I really hope that this ends up being like the style system for Dante. I really hope it does. Oh, and also Dante's back too, and maybe Virgil? Because supposedly he's the one that takes off Nero's Devil Bringer. I don't know. I'm just so excited. I don't think they showed off enough of that game during that little trailer, and I really want more of it, like, immediately, and I hope it comes out this year, which I really doubt it will. I believe it's already announced to come out next year. Oh my god, I'm really so excited about this game. Also, supposedly the game is supposed to close off the Sons of Sparta saga, so I really hope they finish it off right. Anyways, my hopes for this series are at an all-time high right now. It looks like Capcom listened to their fans wanting a new Devil May Cry game, which is amazing. Though I'm still holding out hope for Devil May Cry 2.
What? No chit-chat or monologue? Just getting right to the point, huh?
My brilliant badass work is worth.
Well, Helmet, I think that went pretty well. So, what do you want to do now?
I don't know. Probably just relax a little bit.
You sure you shouldn't tell him what you did first?
Are you really gonna call me out on this?
You did it to yourself. Come on, just show him.
Fine. I went a little crazy playing this game. I sank a lot of time into it. I loved it so much. I still don't have the Platinum Trophy though, but I got the hardest ones out of the way. I just need a lot more time to finally, get the trophy and do it. Thank you for watching this video. This is the end screen. Woo! End screen. I might try to make it a little prettier than I did last time. The one for the DMC reboot video was pretty shitty. Anyways, yeah, so I really enjoyed this game, as you could tell. So I'm probably going to put this game, I want to say right at the top. I will think about it, but god, it's good. It's, like I said, it's my favorite of the series right now, and god, I can't wait for Devil May Cry 5. I'm not going to gush about it a whole lot more here, but wow, I am really looking forward to it. Anyways, so I'm just going to plug social media again. Twitter.com/JamesVikings. twitch.tv/JamesViking. This channel is That Game Review Show, but I believe we don't have a custom thing yet. We'll find out though. And my personal YouTube channel, it should be youtube.com/BartComedy, but just search like, I don't know, James the Viking, and you should be able to find it. I will put a link in the description too, so you don't really got to worry about that. Oh, and also check out Terrell, TDSK17 on pretty much everything. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and we'll be back soon.